Hello, my name is Paula Anderson. I'm with the Cruise Center for Entrepreneurship, and today we're going to be talking to Ryan Pierce, who is a student here at the University of Memphis. He was a part of the ImagineU program last summer, and he's also the new elected president of Collegiate Entrepreneur Organization here on campus at the University of Memphis. So, how are you doing today, Ryan?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you all so much for having me. It's great to have this opportunity.
Okay, so let's talk a little about ImagineU. We know that ImagineU is a 12-week intensive program for students that are a part of different colleges here in the city. So tell us a little about your experience and what value that brought to you.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of an understatement, but it was an absolutely amazing experience. I'd even go as far as to say that Imagine You changed my life, specifically in the sense as to how I view the professional world.
Okay.
Coming up through school, you get so used to the traditional mode. You get good grades, you go work for the corporate world, and then then you go ahead and achieve your dreams. But the good thing about Imagine You is that it asks the question, why not now? So, giving us this opportunity to actually forge our business instead of a supportive environment where we had some time to give a considerable amount of risk, it gave me a chance to actually, find my purpose, find my value, and launch something that was close to my heart early on inside of my professional career. So it was absolutely amazing.
So finding your purpose. So what was your purpose?
That's an amazing question. I find that my purpose and my heart is centered around community development.
Okay.
Which is a very broad
Yeah.
spectrum. It's a very broad topic to try and tackle.
Yeah.
So I guess pivoting just a little bit as far as my experience with ImagineU. Inside of ImagineU, you get the opportunity to pitch your business idea, where then your peers will vote on the idea, and that'll be the project that you forge for the summer. What was originally pitched was an idea to remediate blight and poverty in lower-income areas by doing lawn care and donating the revenue to nonprofit organizations.
Okay.
So that was initially, what I found my purpose, was, and I was going to attack it head on, almost bullishly. But after being taught more entrepreneurial skills about sustainability, about bootstrapping and fundraising, in order for us to execute the same mission, we needed to have a model that was sustainable so that we could actually help people down the line. And that led to us, later pivoting to where we are today.
Okay. So do you still feel that your purpose is going to be a part of the new business model?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and that's something that I'm extremely, confident and excited about, and what really gets me out of bed in the morning is knowing what we're going to be
Okay.
doing.
So let's talk about that. So what is the new business model?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I know that there have been some growth and some changes. So just kind of tell us from beginning to end, kind of where you guys are now.
Well, I guess just starting off, when we started with ImagineU with the initial idea, there is a transitional period for not just myself, but all other entrepreneurs, especially student entrepreneurs, where your idea evolves from an idea to an actual company and a business, and you have to start getting down to brass tacks and talking about what it takes to be sustainable. So, from the original model, we found that we would be, heavily reliant upon donations. We would be very sustainable to actually do much good for anybody. So we decided to pivot to, home service on demand initially. So that would have been leveraging the availability of trade school graduates to take care of any household issue that you would have had on demand. We then found that there was issue with that because the technicians wouldn't have enough equipment that they needed on the job site. So then became the third pivot, which is where we are today.
Okay.
And what we're doing, we're going to be creating an app similar to that before, where we're going to be delivering parts, equipment, and materials to HVAC technicians in the field, so that when they run out of all the tools that they need to take care of a job, we can bring it right to them, and they can take care of everything that they need same day.
Okay. So how is that process going with the app development?
It's been a struggle. It's been a grind, so to speak. Well, not a struggle, but it's been a process. I think that's the most appropriate adjective to use for it.
Okay.
We've been focused solely on customer discovery, compiling our data, but we actually have a company out of Fort Lauderdale, as well as Codify out of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, that's helping us develop the app, get our wireframe. We're expected to launch and have everything together by August of 2019.
So who would actually be in your customer discovery? Who would be your target customer in terms of being able to connect with HVAC?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
So
technicians.
that connection is going to be facilitated by wholesale companies, distribution centers where the technicians get their equipment.
Okay.
Partnerships with them will allow us to have a direct contact to their clientele and our end initial customers. But as far as our target is concerned, we're going to be targeting project managers, over, residential, well, mainly commercial and larger projects that have a very, very short time crunch to work on.
Okay.
So there could be an HVAC technician that needs to take care of a particular part of the job, but when they run out of a part, then the whole process is stalled. That costs thousands of dollars waiting for a particular part to continue the progression of the project. So that's our pain point. That's our market.
Okay. All right. So so I know that you're working with Isaiah. So, okay, and you guys are part of the Delta I Fund.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us a little about how that has benefited your business model.
The Delta I Fund is a grant-sponsored program for up-and-coming startup companies. And they're centered around proof of concept, which is a fancy way of saying customer discovery.
Okay.
The good thing about the Delta I Fund and the way that it's been a benefit to us is that it allowed us to slow down and work within a proper order of operations. We were, of course, like many startup teams, we were doing things very sporadically. We were thinking, okay, how are we going to get funding? How are we going to do this? But we hadn't truly gotten the data to validate our assumptions and ensure that we had a sustainable and scalable business model. So what the Delta I Fund for us has done is allowed us to really dig deep into who we are, what we're doing, and where we're going. And through this data, we know that we have a sustainable business model. We've identified our customer, and we have scalability with key partnerships that have been facilitated as a result of it. So all in all, the program has allowed us to figure out what we're doing, and it's really instilled a lot more confidence in the direction that our company's going.
So what kind of data have you collected? Has it been quantitative data or qualitative data?
It's actually been both. And
Okay.
I know that may not be the answer that you were looking for.
No, that's your perfect answer.
The good thing about the Delta I Fund was that they had somewhat of a minimal type of customer discovery limit. So they expect us to host 5 interviews per week, which is very doable. It's a nominal amount. So with that type of pace, it later on down the line leads to quantitative data, but it's qualitative in the sense that we don't need to rush to meet specific deadlines. We can kind of work at our own pace. So when we started reaching out to friends and family, and friends and family turned into relationships with professionals, and that led to other professionals. So it's been a very gradual growth, and it's been very qualitative in the sense that we validated our assumptions. And we dig deep. Those interviews last anywhere from 15 to even 45 minutes. And if that's not qualitative, I don't know what is. So,
Yeah, that is.
We
That's very
really can't
qualitative.
complain.
Okay, so let's jump into CEO,
Yes, ma'am.
which is the Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization here on campus.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so it's designed to expose students to entrepreneurship. So tell us about that, what some of your goals are, and what we can expect in the fall.
Yes, ma'am. So, ImagineU Alumnus and I are extremely excited to have the opportunity to, create and forge an uprising, the CEO organization here on campus. After about 2 years of inactivity, we want to provide this avenue and these resources that have benefited myself and other entrepreneurs to the greater student body at the University of Memphis. With that, though, we found that when we started talking to CEO members, that there were 2 respective classes of CEO members. There were individuals who had a lot more entrepreneurial experience that were more ingrained and deeply intertwined with their ideas. And there were individuals who were interested in entrepreneurship but didn't necessarily have an idea, and they just wanted an opportunity to create something from the ground up.
Okay.
So, with that, we decided to create somewhat of a structure that was conducive for both. What we're going to be doing is serving to create an atmosphere that allows individuals who aren't necessarily new to the space an opportunity to become familiarized and learn those entrepreneurial skills like the lean canvas and things like that, while also supporting student entrepreneurs that are later on inside of their entrepreneurial journey.
Okay.
And they're more familiar with the ecosystem.
Okay. So what are you going to be doing, some of the events that you plan to do maybe for the summer, just to kind of get students aware of the organization?
Yes, ma'am. So we're going to go ahead and start with, of course, new student orientation. I think that's probably one of the best places for us to start.
Okay.
New freshmen come to the university. We're going to be talking on behalf of the Career Center and CEO to, spark that initial interest for the fall.
Okay.
We're also going to be working through our email list as well to engage with our members who have been in the organization for a long time, but they haven't been very active due to the inactivity of the club. We initially wanted to work with social media, but I think it's best for us to stay close to home, work with what we've got, and trying to develop a foundation as far as members are concerned with the resources that we have before we launch our social media in the fall.
So how many members do you have?
We have around 60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So are
60
the-
on the books. 60 on the books.
600 books. Okay, so are they like current students now, or they're alumni?
We find that around 30 to 40 of them are active or current students at the university, and the other 20 are just, individuals who have graduated. We don't want to purge them from the list because that's part of the ecosystem. Their experiences, they can come back and bring those to new students who are, still in the process. So it's good.
So I wanted to ask you about some of the things that we talked about when we had our Welcome Back initiative.
Yes, ma'am.
And so to see if some of these items fit into the plan for CEO. So some of you guys mentioned that you wanted to have training on Saturdays.
Yes, ma'am.
To learn more about different topics related to business growth and development. So is that something that you foresee CEO doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Or in collaboration with the Crew Center?
Well, to tackle that, what we're going to do, we're going to start off, of course, with our first kickoff event, getting a chance to know everybody, but we're going to follow that up with a workshop weekend. So we're going to kick off the workshop, and that's where the learning aspect is going to come into the whole equation of CEO. For the newer students who are new to the entrepreneurial environment. So they'll go through that whole weekend. We'll teach them things like the lean canvas, customer discovery, ideation, team building, things of that nature. And then after that, we want to hit the ball running. CEO, it's an international organization, but there are a lot of chapters across the world that we want to compete with, hopefully. So of course there will be workshops sprinkled throughout. But those will take place mainly during our meetings. But we're going to have one kickoff weekend for everybody. And then we'll have some informational stuff about bootstrapping, finances, legal stuff that is very pivotal to entrepreneurs later on through our meetings.
Well, we've talked a lot about what you're doing on a professional level, but we haven't talked about Ryan, the person. So let's talk a little bit about who Ryan is.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, that's. I guess we'll start out with this. Well, I'm Ryan. Ryan Pierce. I'm from San Diego, California. I moved to Murfreesboro, Tennessee when I was around 9 years old, and there I was very active in the Boy Scouts of America, DECA, which is a Distributive Education Clubs of America, which is a marketing organization. I ran track. I love to work out. Love to hang out with my friends, that kind of deal. And although that was me in high school, a lot of that stuff still transitions over. I'm still active with my troop back there. I like to teach, merit badges with those guys. I'm very active here at the Crew Center for Entrepreneurship. I still work out, still love pizza, I still love to sleep, so.
And I know that, politics is something, your major is poli-sci.
Yes,
so tell us how your poli-sci major is going to fit into your entrepreneurship.
And this is why you're such a great interview, because I forgot about that, but thank you for mentioning that. I am a poli-sci major. I was the former president of the College Democrats at the University of Memphis, but how that fits into our entrepreneurial vision is that it allows me to understand the actual structures that create situations for different communities. And the initial vision is to change and develop lower income communities, be it rural or urban. And there's a strong bureaucratic aspect to that whole deal. So as far as where that fits in, I've been very fortunate to develop a lot of connections with politicians here within the city of Memphis as well as the state, and that serves to provide true guidance. We're always up on current events, be it taxes or a lot of other things that could affect our business and our long-term vision. But there's a lot of groups that we've served that have served as guidance for us in the long term as to where we want to be. Like, for example, the Lemoyne Owen College CDC organization that does a lot of great work inside of the city of Memphis. Groups like Juice and Orange Mound by Brittany Thornton or City Current by Jeremy Parks. These are groups that have very much an entrepreneurial type of head, but they work with politicians, and they're very active and enthralled within the community. So as far as how that helps me out, I've been fortunate enough to develop connections with individuals inside of those spaces as well as politicians, but they serve as guidance for us to understand what it takes for us to actually successfully launch a vision and truly make an impact in this world. And if it weren't for those organizations, I don't know if we'd have the same fire that we have today.
That's a really interesting perspective to connect the organizations to, because essentially what you're doing is you're building relationships with those organizations to find out how they can actually have a part in the entrepreneurship process in order to grow individuals or to grow the city. So do you see that as the relationship that you try to forge with
Well, it's always good to have a strong network because
Okay.
you never know, what bridges can be built to serve to better
Mhm.
the community at large. But I think what those organizations have done was they've given us the confidence to know that there is an actual blueprint that can be forged when you're creating an organization that wants to forge an impact. A lot of those organizations are very active in the community, but they have strong relationships with representatives that I know personally that have spoken very highly of these groups. And that knowledge and that foresight and understanding that it can be done allows us to keep on pushing forward and knowing that when the time is right, we can have the same impact that they've had in the city of Memphis.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up here. Is there anything else, Ryan, that you would like to share with our viewers about what you're doing or what you have coming up?
We are fortunate to say that, of course, we are in the Delta I Fund, so we'll be pitching towards the end of the program, so please be on the lookout for that because we'll be posting on our social media. Please follow us at Compass Home Services on our LinkedIn and our Facebook page. And if you are a student entrepreneur or you're just interested to see what's going on around here, please come back during the fall semester to see what CEO is up to. And if you want to know more about that, please follow the Crew Center for Entrepreneurship page on Facebook. And we'll keep you posted. But thank you very much, Ms. Paul.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, you guys have a good one.